If you've seen my videos before, you might know that I'm a fan of Superstar Season 1, but not so much the second season. Going into Season 3, I was cautiously optimistic because the concept was rather original, but I was skeptical about how well everything would work out. Now that I've finished the show, I'm going to tackle this beast by looking at 3 specific characters. For the sake of time, let's get right to talking about the first character of the bunch, Kiniko. When I first heard that Leela was going to be expanding its cast, I was among those who were initially disappointed by the development. Based on looks alone, the brown hair and relatively simple personality of Kiniko's introduction immediately made her stick out, and not in a good way. My initial reaction was one of negativity and disinterest, but that would change upon my first viewing of Season 2. Kiniko's personality really won me over, and a big part of that is how clumsy and extra she is. What she lacks in unique visual design, she makes up for in spades with the funny. What's more important, however, is her place in Leela. With this being the first Love Live series to have characters join the main roster with each season, Kiniko joining Leela is highly significant and carries a lot of thematic importance. How well does she fill this role? She does alright. See, something that's very important to the franchise is connection. Practically the main message of the series is that people can achieve great things when they connect and lift up each other. In Superstar, this is manifested as a symbolic passing of the torch from the original 5 to the younger members. This focus was initially put squarely on Kiniko, with her lack of skill and stamina being a serious problem from the start. Unfortunately, this came to apply to all 4 of the new characters, and never seemed to go away as the season went on, much to my irritation. One thing Love Live seems to have a problem with is showing rather than telling. I can't buy that the first years are somehow never as good as the second years, even though the performances say completely otherwise. The best example is in episode 9 with the Kiki Sumire drama. Sumire tries playing the villain so that the first years won't compete because she believes this is the best way to win and avoid Kiki being sent home. The problem is, this only works if Sumire genuinely believes the first years aren't good enough. This is right after the performances of both Chance Day Chance Way and Vitamin Summer, in which there is zero indication the first years are worse in any capacity. The emotional climax of the Sumire Kiki episode just doesn't work because there wasn't any reason for Sumire to feel this way. It's incredibly frustrating and it drags down the season with its persistence. Kiniko by extension is also relatively sidelined, which is rather frustrating given the significance she's supposed to hold. Season 3 Kiniko didn't fix everything, but it did give her some much needed development, especially in episode 10. It never really clicked with me how similar Ren and Kiniko are until the show pointed it out, but emphasizing it and making Kiniko be Ren's successor was a welcome surprise. The episode also helped to establish Kiniko as an important successor to the original 5, helping lead the whole school in Ren's absence. Also, am I the only one who thinks the moment Kiniko starts drawing all over the chalkboard was amazing? Maybe it's just me, but the way she moves around all dynamically while singing felt really artistically beautiful. It caught me off guard in a good way. Also, I love how at the very end, Kiniko was the one who responded to Kanon's parting message. I do wish Kiniko got a bit more attention than she did, but Season 3 absolutely made up for a lot of what Season 2 failed to achieve for her character. When it comes to antagonistic characters in Love Live, there's something about Lanshu I find doesn't work too well. A great deal of fans disliked her actions in Cephas, and so she became much more watered down in the Nietzsche anime. Unfortunately, her character's role really doesn't fit in with the framework of the show. What made Cephas Lanshu work was her incredible abilities and stubbornness to budge on her ideas of what everyone should do. In the anime, she's scarcely even relevant to the goals of the other characters. Utopia is a fantastic song, but her effect on the narrative is hardly even relevant. By contrast, Wean is the best antagonist the series has to offer. I spoke earlier about the franchise struggling with show don't tell, but Wean makes her one hell of an exception. One of the first things she does is perform Butterfly Wing, an absolute banger of a song, and easily beats Sunny Passion single-handedly. Calling school idols amateurs makes sense, considering she just trounced a Love Live tournament winner. And this is the person Leela has to face. That is how you do tension. In Season 3, Wean serves a different purpose than she had previously, but it wouldn't mean a lot if it was just her versus Leela. That's why I love that Kanon joined up with her and Tomari to face off against the rest of the group. I don't think this was utilized perfectly, but it made this season truly unique compared to anything that came before it. I think my one big problem is how Wean suddenly stops caring about beating Leela at the end of episode 8. My expectation was that the three of them would beat Leela and then merge the groups into a full 11, and unfortunately only one half of that came true. I'd expect a bit more resistance from Wean to no winner being declared at least, even if she did ultimately decide to go along with it. It felt rather uninspired for such an important moment in the show. The reason I'm not as harsh about this part as I could be is because I do like what they do with her for the rest of the season, especially in episode 9. Kanon's skills are shown perfectly by her recognition of how Wean and Arya are getting along. It was being in a leadership position teaching Arya how to bake Austrian sweets that let Wean open up to her. Putting Wean in charge of training not only benefits the group, but also makes Kiniko and Natsumi immediately grow closer to her. We even see how Wean's viewpoints have shifted by the end of the story, as she actually opts to stay and be an idol rather than go back to Vienna, the complete opposite of her opinion at the start of the season. Overall, Wean is a breath of fresh air that this series desperately needed. In Season 1, I saw Kanon as a highly relatable protagonist whose close-knit bond with the other girls was a joy to watch. In Season 2, I saw Kanon as a bit too over-involved, having grown but not really using that growth for much of value to the plot. My friend Aquamarina once said that sometimes Superstar in later seasons gets treated like the Kanon show, and I think that criticism is entirely valid. The example I see most commonly is the Natsumi recruitment. Why would she need some excuse to go all the way up to Hokkaido to recruit Natsumi when Kiniko was right there befriending her already? When you have a large 9-person cast, making the protagonist get a disproportionate amount of attention only serves to exacerbate the problems with the second season. As discussed prior, there certainly were many of those. How about Season 3? Well, I think she's alright. She still gets a bit more attention than I think she should, but a lot more characters are allowed to do things without Kanon's input. With Kanon having more screen time around Tomari and Wean, it gave the cast more breathing room to focus on characters who could really use more attention, like Shiki, Chisato, Kiniko, and Ren. At the same time, it also showed Kanon's growth and leadership skills get put to good use with some new faces, helping make most interactions in the season fresh on either side of the Yui-Goka split. Oh, and guess what? There wasn't any unnecessary drama at the end of the season like in Season 2, which actually made the Love Live win feel rewarding. Incredible! I still consider Season 1 to have the best interpretation of Kanon, but Season 3 Kanon was handled better than in the second. It really felt more than just about her, especially with the grand farewell at the end. The focus was on passing the torch, and that's exactly how I hoped it would be. So, what do I think of Season 3? Well, I'm going to say something I never thought I was going to say. I like Season 3 more than Season 1. I'm surprised too, but that's my honest opinion. I wouldn't say I like it a considerable amount more, but something about the conclusion, unique interactions, and unexplored premise within the Love Live universe has really won me over. There are some problems, like the characters being a bit too leaky-eyed for my liking, but the problems aren't as disastrous as in Season 2. I think the message of the series just really clicked with me. With that, I think I'll call it a night. Thanks for watching, and have yourselves a good one.